Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. I'm Jenny Taft with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Guys, how are you doing?
Yeah, we're good. Skip, how you doing today?
You know, I don't wear goat masks.
No.
I don't wear gloat masks. I just say what I see. And last night, I saw the soon-to-be NBA champions on display. And they're the other Los Angeles team, the team in the basement, the Clippers. Kawhi has now.
I'm just saying, you got a lot of Ted Cruz in you. Because I remember you were against Kawhi, and now you with him, just like Ted Cruz was against him. But, you know.
I have no idea. Who's Ted Cruz play for? The Rangers?
Yeah.
I think he plays for the Rangers.
Is that the
That used to be Nelson Cruz.
Oh,
Okay. Well, Doc wanted energy from his team, and he got it last night. The Clippers
He did.
bounced back in a huge way, routing the Mavericks 154-111. They held Luka Dončić to 22 points on 6 of 17 shooting and suffocated him the whole game. There was some controversy in the third quarter, though. Marcus Morris stepped on Luka's ankle. After the game, the Mavs star questioned whether it was intentional, but said only Morris would know for sure what his intentions were. Morris denied it and said, quote, "I'm not apologizing for bleep." Shannon, do you believe this was intentional?
Yeah, it was. I mean, all that court. And somehow you managed to step on the guy's ankle. You happen to step on a guy's ankle that's injured with all that court available. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows because this guy has a history. And everybody knows that, Skip. Everybody knows he has a history. It started early in the game, Skip. They were jawing at the line. This is what I don't get. I didn't see any of this in game one. I didn't see it in game two. I didn't see it game Sunday. I mean, in the game Sunday. Now, last night, Skip Bayless tell me he hate front runners. And I ain't seen anybody front run more than the Clippers. Pat Beverly, oh, he doing the centipede. Oh, he doing the bottle flip. He got so much to say. Everybody just high five and they kick it up. They cockroach it, kicking it leg. Boy, we got it going. But just the other night, Skip Bayless said, I don't hate those front runners. I mean, people just blowing up my timeline. You hear what Skip saying? Oh, he hate front running. Oh, front running LeBron James.
yeah, I can't wait to talk about him in just a few minutes here on this show. Go ahead.
Yeah, but it was a dirty play. It was an unnecessary play. And as I said before, Marcus Morris has a history of this type of behavior. He can miss me with that. I play the game with integrity. I play the game the right way. Everybody knows your history, your pattern of behavior, which you've exhibited in your 10-year NBA career. That's factual. It's okay. You did it. You tried to be sneaky about it, but that's the thing about Skip. Now with the way television is, they have cameras on everything. You can't get away with anything.
Good point.
You remember back in the day, Skip, guys would do things.
No, I agree.
Oh, he did it. Well, I don't see it on tape.
Yeah.
Now there are so many cameras, even in the bubble. They have they have the cameras that run along the sideline, give you an up-close view, just like you were sitting in the stands. So for me, Skip, this was an intentional act. And it marred what was a great game by the Clippers. They played unbelievable. And Skip, let me tell you what happens. If you shoot 22 or 35 from the three-point line and you shoot 53 for 84 from the field, you're probably going to blow the team out unless they shoot 30 for 40 from the three-point line.
Clippers playoff records. Yes.
Everything.
Okay.
Most points in the half, most points in the game, best three-point percentage, best field goal percentage. When you have those type of numbers in a playoff game, Skip, you're going to blow the team out. This was unnecessary by Morris. I believe it was an intentional act. He can say, okay, how about this, Skip? It was an intentional act. I'll leave it at that.
And I will buy that. Even though on Twitter after the game, Marcus Morris posted, "To think I would try to injure somebody is crazy to me." That's what he posted.
Yeah.
Went on to all the things you just said. I play the right way, 10 years going up against the best. I stand on morals and I stand on hard work. I compete and I leave it out there every game. He does.
Yes.
He goes on to say, basketball has never been that serious to try to hurt somebody. I'm not apologizing for bleep because I know what I put into the game day in and day out. It was a mistake. Deal with it. So he's saying he accidentally stepped on the foot. But I'm going to go with you because Marcus Morris is obviously an emerging team leader. He just joined the team a few months back at the trade deadline.
Right.
And yet he's always been a tough guy. He has some enforcer in him. And I believe he was enforcing against Luka Dončić.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you why he was enforcing. Because Luka, more than ever, at the start of this game, is whining over every call. I mean, every single call, he's whining to the refs. He's walking up the court or running up the court with the referee, trying to talk him out of or into a call that he's going to get.
Luka said, I'm a superstar now.
Okay, I'm a superstar. Even the half ended with him walking off the floor, talking to another one of the referees. After a while, I tweeted, just play. Just play. It's okay. You can argue one call or two calls, but don't whine every time. Every single call in that game was a whine after the call. So this is, again, they got physical with him. And by the way, after I campaigned on Monday that you have to occasionally just throw him a curveball and trap him. They trapped him some. They did. At half court with some of the bigs, they would run at him and just say, no,
get the ball out of his hands.
You got to give it up. And he gives it up because he's a passer by nature.
Right.
He's like LeBron. He's born to pass the basketball. He only wound up with 4 assists last night. And by the way, he had one of those shooting nights that is regrettable because what did he wind up?
6 of 17.
6 of 17. 1 of 6 from 3. And did you notice his first three-point attempt of the night? It hit nothing but air. Another air ball. So he shot 3 air balls on Sunday and another air ball last night, 1 for 6. And I don't want to bring this up because I talk about the regular season, but no, just in the bubble. Well, no, just in the playoffs so far. He's making a grand total of 34%, which for him is actually a hot streak.
That's pretty good.
That ranks 69th of 84 three-point shooters in the playoffs, which is pretty terrible. That's tied for 7th most misses. Free throws, he's down to 68%. He missed 5 more last night. He has missed the most free throws of anybody in the bubble. But now let's get to the flashpoint that was underreported last night in this game. Speaking of camera angles, they're everywhere. It sees and knows all, the cameras. Could we please see what happened in a play late in the first quarter to Reggie Jackson underneath the basket thanks to Luka Dončić? Can we see this play? Here's the first part of it. You can just see it in fast motion. 3-point shot. Luka goes in, and you don't really see it, but Reggie Jackson gets cold-cocked in the back of the head by Luka. Here it is. Look at that. He just takes a swing at him and hits him in the back of the head.
I was wondering why it was down. I was like, did somebody crash into it?
Nope. Luka took a swing, and it was very calculated and camouflaged, but he basically just pops him in the back of the head. The overhead view really shows it much better. Here he goes. Luka, we can't really see it that way. Here's the one. See, he just took a swing at him and hit him in the back of the head, and Reggie just crashes out of bounds on his back. And first I thought he hit the back of his head on the hardwood.
That's what I thought.
But no, he just took up a little rabbit punch, a little shot in the back of the head from
And guess
Luka.
who was on the floor when that happened? Marcus Morris.
Yes.
Guess who had a good angle to see what happened?
He did.
Marcus Morris.
Okay.
And if you say what you say is true, he's the enforcer.
Okay.
What's he going to do?
He is going to retaliate. As soon as he gets a clear, open shot, a little subtle from behind, I'm going to step on your injured ankle, which is also leading to some Achilles issues. And I'm going to step on you. And again, do I have a huge problem? I do not. That's the way this game is played. And when he says he plays the right way, that's actually how this game has always been played.
Well, Skip, that's kind of like, that's hockey. That, you know, you got your enforcer, you got your goons, that if you mess with the Lemieux or you mess with the Gretzkys, you're going to have to deal, the Sidney Crosby, you're going to have to deal with the team's enforcer. Now, Skip, this goes back. You remember Kawhi had that injured ankle, and you named the guy, Zaza Pacheep.
He did.
He did that intentionally, didn't he?
He slid a size, what was it, 17?
He did.
A size 17. He slid it right underneath Kawhi as he came down from a jump shot, and actually
he landed on it, and boom. Kawhi has an injured ankle. He was like, well, I was just going to contest. No, you didn't.
And remember, that was the third quarter of Game 1 in which they were ahead by 23 or something like that. And they lost the lead and lost the game, lost the series. Obviously.
Skip, I don't know if you remember this, but in the preseason game, Justin Anderson was playing with the Wizards.
Yep.
And Marcus Morris, he elbowed him. He elbowed him again in the face, and then he took the ball and bounced it off the top of his head. Now, is that playing the game the right way? Do you remember when he kneed Ben Simmons in the head?
I do.
Is that playing the game the right way? Because if we're in the court of law, and you I would eat him up on cross. Because if he got up on the stands and said he plays the game the right way, and I got this video, guess what I'm going to show the jury, Skip? And I'm going to ask him again, Mr. Morris, is this playing the game the right way? What do you think he's going to say? Mr. Morris, here you kneeing Ben Simmons in the head. Is this playing the game the right way?
Okay.
Because you said you play the game the right way.
So,
pattern of behavior.
You brought up Patrick Beverley.
Yes.
Right now, he is the #1 cheerleader and trash talker from the bench because he has not been able to play yet. They're saying he might be able to be available for the next game.
Right.
The point is, Patrick Beverley does not play what Luka is playing. He's not going to accept all the whining, all the this, and all the the subtle cheap shots from a guy who, to me, Luka is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Because the sheep's clothing is always, I don't know what's happening. And he said after the game, he's saying all this bad stuff to me.
Yeah, bad stuff.
Marcus is saying bad stuff to me. Is that okay with you guys? He's asking the reporters. Is this okay? Does this look like an intentional shot? If this was intentional, that's really bad. Well, was the swing on Reggie Jack, the back of his head, was that intentional? If so, that looks really bad to me. But Luka's like it's all okay. I'm happy. I'm happy. But Patrick Beverley was all over him, and finally Luka made a free throw, and as he was backpedaling up the court, you know what he did to Patrick? If we have, we might have this. I don't know. He did this. Yeah, here he is. He's giving him this. Patrick's all over him, and he can hear it because there are no fans. So you can hear everything.
That's the
all over him, and here we go. See if you can make one free throw, Luka. You lead the whole playoffs in missed free throws, and he's doing, keep talking, right?
Yeah.
So they are going back and forth.
Right.
And yet, last night on Luka, they obviously came out and said, we are going to get even more physical with him. They roughed him up, they pushed him around, they beat on him, and to me, he, under the onslaught last night, he had a long, hard night.
Yes.
Obviously, he did not have his co-star. He did not have Porzingis.
Yes.
I'm hoping for their sake, Porzingis comes back. Right. I'm hoping for the sake of the series because I'm not writing these guys off because of Luka. Right. He's obviously an extremely talented player.
Well, Skip, they played. I mean, obviously, the Clippers said, like, look, we're going to try. When we get an opportunity, we're going to get the ball out of his hands. We're going to make other people beat us.
Yep.
And early on, I mean, the game was pretty good. I mean, Skip, I went to shave, and
you went to shave?
I went to shave, Skip.
At night?
Yeah.
I shave in the morning.
No,
Silly me.
No.
You shave at night? What if it grows overnight?
Well,
you gonna have stubble?
Well, you ain't gonna be able to see it.
Really? So your beard must grow very slowly.
No, it grows very fast. But I think by the time, if I shave it, 6:30, 7 o'clock, by the time we roll around here, 12 hours, I should be fine. Skip, so I go so they're up like, I think 15, 13, 15, 12, 16, something like that. Skip, I come back, and they're down like 33. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, what happened? Did I actually fall asleep or something, Skip? Come to find out, the Clippers go on a 19-0 run.
19-0.
And boom.
And I think it got worse after that. It got up to like, I don't know.
It was 32-5, I think.
Right, something like
but Skip, what happens is, you come down and you jack up a jump shot. They come down, make a three. You come down, jack up another. They come down and make a three. Well, it doesn't take long for the game to get out of hand because it seemed like early on they really couldn't miss.
Nope, they could not.
Because at one point they were 10 of 16 from the three. Well, if they're 10 of 16, you're 2 of 8.
Yeah.
Well, unless something dramatically happened, you hit a cold streak like the Rockets did, it's going to be hard for you to get back into the ball game.
So, I don't know if you noticed this guy, the quiet man, the quiet assassin.
Yeah.
For the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yeah,
He's got a commercial that says he's got now because this is now Kawhi Town, that guy. Did you notice what he did last night?
I noticed he missed 5 free throws. Yeah. Did you notice that?
I did, but I also noticed he only missed 7 shots because he hit 12 of 19 shots, and he has gotten lethal from mid-range turnaround.
How many shots did he miss?
Lethal.
How many shots did he miss?
12 of 19.
My guy missed 2 shots.
Really?
And one of them was a 29-foot three-pointer.
Your guy is playing the worst defensive team in the bubble and in basketball.
So how good a defensive team is the Mavs?
They're a little better than the Trailblazers.
Are they really?
Yeah,
without Porzingis.
Yeah.
They're better defensively without Porzingis.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Kawhi Leonard just does work on anybody who tries to guard him. Hardaway tries. All of them.
What about my guy?
Kleba tries.
What about my guy?
Which guy?
You know my guy. I ain't got but one. You know who he is.
What about
Say his name.
I don't
Hey,
say his name. We're going to say it like 8,000 times the rest of the day.
Do you remember what my guy did to your guy in the first game back? Or the seeding game? Do you remember?
You mean the first game of the year?
No.
When he scored 2 in the fourth quarter?
No, hold on.
And got blown out?
What's the record? We 2-2, right?
Yeah, 2-2.
We okay?
Yep.
Okay. I'm just checking because I don't want you to get too far ahead of yourself.
By the way, Patrick Beverley, as I point out, is about to come back. And did you see that in the voting for Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah.
Patrick Beverley actually got 1 first-place vote.
And from a Clipper guy.
And he actually got 2 third-place votes, which is pretty great for a little 6-foot guy who blocked LeBron's shot on Christmas Day so skillfully that he knocked it up out of his hands, threw his hands back over his head, out of bounds, game over.
All I remember the last time they played, before the break, Patrick Beverley became unplayable in the fourth quarter. They tried to play him on LeBron James, but he became unplayable. A guy that got a vote for Defensive Player of the Year and 2 third-place votes became unplayable in a game of that magnitude.
He sets the defensive tone for this team. You said, conga line, Soul Train, blah, 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 blah. Watch what happens when he comes back. Watch the new urgency and edge with which they will play defense, sparked by the electricity of Patrick Beverley.
You do realize, although Luka shot 16 of 17, he went to the free throw line. He shot 14 free throw attempts. They're not fouling guys on jump shots. So where was he getting those at? In the paint. So again, Papa Karacha, conga line to the basket.
You know what I'd forgotten until they brought it up last night on the telecast? The Mavericks obviously had the #1 offensive rating in the history of basketball. Guess who was the second-rated offense in all of basketball this regular season?
Right.
It was the Clippers.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Whoa.
So best defensive team, second best offense. That means that equals NBA championship.
So let me ask you a question. So why you finishing in not the #1 seed?
Well, because our guys were gone most of the year.
You know what, Skip? I need y'all to stop this.
Yep.
I need you, and we're gonna talk about Doc a little later. I love Doc, but you can't say, Skip, when you lose, we haven't played together, but when you win, we've had great ball movement. Whoa!
They're just figuring themselves out.
Man, stop it, Skip. Stop.
And by the way, underreported last night. Did you see that guy who played the whole second half? Do you remember that guy who hasn't been in the bubble until about 10 days ago?
Oh, Trez, yeah.
That guy Trez, the beast of the West, that guy. Did you see what he did? Look at those numbers he put up. How about that? How about 19 and 11 in 22 minutes? You like that?
Oh, did you see what my guy did? Hey, D.
Which guy?
So let me ask you a question. You want Trez, so you got Trez or you got AD?
I got Trez coming off the bench because I got Big Zoo who's going to bother your guy.
He always bother him how?
Bothers him.
What he gonna do? Blow in his ear? Thump his ear or something? That's the only way he gonna bother him. He can't bother that shot. Whiteside can't bother the shot. Nurkic.
This was a tour de force.
Skip.
You saw it.
Skip.
You were afraid of it.
First of all, AD played 18 minutes. LeBron played 28 minutes and shut it down. And we get a 135 spot.
Kawhi scored 32 in 29 minutes. You like that?
We scored 30 in 28 minutes.
Okay.
And Skip, and we took 12 shots.
Better. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
You took 19 shots. Wow. We took 12.
We're playing a team, and you're playing some G League team.
Hold on, time out. If I'm not mistaken, it's not like the Mavs were the #2 seed. They're the 7th seed. So that means they're 1 seed better than the Trailblazers. So let's not pretend, Skip.
They just couldn't close, but boy, they can play 3.5 quarters.
So what they got to do with anything? The Clippers. So the Blazers, they get their guys because, hold on, they can use that excuse. They didn't have Nurkic. Zach Collins has been in and out. They signed Melo late. They don't make any excuses.
Neither do the Clippers.
Oh, yeah, you do. And then you do every time you lose.
They
you
just
talk
come
about
out and say, watch
Hold on,
this.
Skip. You just said because they haven't played together. They don't really know each other. So you are making excuses.
Doc does.
No, you and Skip Bayless.
States facts.
But Dame not talking about Nurkic hadn't been there the whole year. He hadn't been talking about Zach Collins in and out of the lineup. Now he's gone again. We signed Melo late. That's not what he does. But every time the Clippers lose, they haven't played together. When they win, man, look at that ball movement. Woo, look at the ball movement.
I think they got to know each other last night.
Oh, just last night?
I think last night.
So
they took their name tags off because they said, "Oh yeah, you are Marcus Morris."
So did nobody know anybody when Luka hit that 39-foot bomb?
No.
Ain't nobody know nobody. What about game 2?
The more I think about that, that's like a 1 billion to 1
Ain't no
shot.
1 billion to 1.
Yeah.
Ain't no 1 billion to 1.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I've seen him do it too many times. He'll do it to you again.
The airball prince, Luka. Good.
They say, hold on. I mean, I'm hearing he's a cross between Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and Goat James. I say, what?
How could anybody have the audacity to put him in the same sentence with one of the deadliest shooters in the history of this game, Larry Bird?
He gonna improve.
This guy is one of the undeadliest shooters.
He gonna improve.
Okay.
By the time Luka 25, he'll have an MVP. By the time he's 24, he'll have an MVP.
Okay.
24.
By the time he's 24, he'll have one of them things.
Wow.
He needs to get an enforcer because if he's going to start it, somebody's going to finish it.
He ain't starting nothing.
Wolf in sheep's clothing.
Just getting going here. Can Luka just be Luka? Do we have to label him as someone already?
No mercy.
The Lakers were already up by 35 points in Game 4. LeBron decided to drain his own logo three-pointer right after crossing half court to put LA up 38. The shot was from almost the same exact spot as Damian Lillard's logo shot Game 1. The big lead suggests LeBron was an answer saying, quote, the only reason James fired that shot from that spot at that moment was to mark his territory. Skip, should the Blazers have taken that personally?
Lord.
Hey, what it do? Yep.
If I were a Portland Trailblazer, I would have taken that very personally. I would have been, and I would be going into tonight's game offended and outraged by that act by the king.
What'd he do?
The game was clearly decided, as Jenny just pointed out. The Lakers were up by 35 points. Mm-hmm. And he had the audacity to come down and take and make a 36-foot shot, up 35 points, to put them up 38.
Layup!
And to put them up 38, then to run to the other end of the court, giving it a yes, yeah.
Yeah, look at that. You see him looking at it? Looking like he shot it from there?
Wow. As if he just hit a walk-off game winner in Game 7 to put the Portland Trailblazers, the rising 8 seed, back in their place. If he had done that, I'd give him a
No, you wouldn't.
That put you should be ashamed of this, seriously. That put them up 38 points as they were clearly going up 3-1 in the series. It should have been a sweep from the start.
No, it shouldn't.
And all I got to say is, you want to talk about rubbing somebody's nose in something? You want to talk about front running and showboating and hot dogging at the highest level?
Yeah, put some mustard and relish on that hot dog, Bron.
All at Portland's expense.
Yes.
And all I got to say is, LeBron James is so lucky he wasn't playing Major League Baseball at that point.
Why?
Because did you see what happened about a week ago? San Diego versus Texas, Fernando Tatis.
Yeah.
What happened?
He had a grass.
It's 1 out in the 8th inning. The score is 10-3 San Diego. He said he missed the take sign. I have no idea if that's true or not, but on a 3-0 pitch, he swung away and he connected and hit a bases loaded grand slam.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, they're up 14-3.
Yeah.
Okay, so the point is that the Rangers were clearly so outraged that the next hitter up is Manny Machado. And where did the next pitch go? It went behind him. It's called a purpose pitch. It's sending a message that will not be tolerated. And the Rangers manager, Chris Woodward, got suspended for overseeing that, for signing off on that.
Yeah.
But he said after the game, we did not like that as a group. He wasn't saying just for him, but as their whole team, they did not like that.
Why not?
And they found it unacceptable.
But guess what, Skip?
It's just an unwritten baseball rule, just as it should have been an unwritten playoff basketball rule. You don't try to rub somebody's poor nose in it when you're up 35.
If you don't mind me asking, you said the score was 10-3 in the 8th? So in other words, they had thrown 85, 90 purpose pitches. So how the hell did they get to be 10-3? You worried about one pitch. What about those other 80 that led to the 10 runs? Where's the unwritten rule?
effectively over.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It wasn't the bottom. Was it the bottom of the ninth?
No, it wasn't the
Okay,
bottom
was
of
it
the
the fourth quarter? And no time on the clock.
All I know is if I were a Trailblazer tonight, and obviously I no longer have Damian Lillard, and I don't have Zach Collins.
Yeah.
And I don't have Trevor Ariza, who didn't even come. So I am undermanned tonight. I am a 13.5-point underdog. I got to tell you what I would be thinking.
What you would be thinking?
I would come out and play with rage. I would go down swinging, and I'm not advocating, I'm not sending a message that they should throw punches. I'm just talking about effectively, psychologically go down swinging, as in play physically, play within just barely the letter of the law, but take your pound of flesh underneath the basket, hard fouls.
That's
Play
unnecessary,
with
Skip.
some rage.
That's unnecessary.
You still have Carmelo. You still have CJ. You still have Nurkic. You still have Whiteside. And you got those kids. Anthony Simons comes in.
And you got Gary Trent Jr.
Oh, I didn't mention him.
Yeah.
He plays fearlessly to me.
Yeah.
He plays tough and strong. He's not big enough to guard LeBron, but he gets after him, and they should get after your guys. And this should be much closer than 13.5. They should make you sweat and make you work, because clearly you'll front run out in the first quarter and think this is over, and you're not going to take this team seriously.
Oh, yeah, we are.
They now have a reason to take you very seriously tonight and play it like you mean it. I don't want to hear 1, 2, 3 Cancun before this game starts. I want to see the Portland Trailblazers show what's left of their pride. They still have enough firepower to make this a contest. I want to see them compete just the way the Rangers fired back. I want to see them fire back at the King for a 35-point shot, 35 shot that was clearly unacceptable.
Very acceptable.
Yes.
Well, guard it.
That's what I want. I want them running back up the court tonight going, yes.
Hold on.
Yes.
You remember when Dame hit that long three?
Yep.
And they started playing too short? Go dumb, and he dancing back up the court. You ain't say a word. You say you like that. I say, Skip, I thought this was a Lakers home game.
What
How the hell
game was that? It was game 1.
Okay.
Was it close? Yeah.
No.
In fact, they were still down.
Okay, it was close. Well, who knows what could have happened? Because LeBron James, we've seen LeBron bring a team back from 27 against Paul George when he was in Indiana. You remember that?
Well, what I remember is game 1, LeBron had the ball in his hands with a 6-point lead with 7 minutes to go, right in the middle of that little salvo from Damian.
Yeah.
And LeBron, I'm thinking, home, James? No, he went out the back door.
But that's okay. But he made up for it with that one. I do not believe, Skip, this was anything other than a heat check. Because at that point in time, Skip, he was 9 of 10 from the floor. That's what he was.
Okay.
He was 3 or 4 from the three-point line.
Game is over.
Skip, this is a heat check. He like, man, hold up, I'm feeling good. I just hit a 3. I just hit a couple of threes. I'm talking about distance threes. Let me just see how hot I actually am. We've seen that, Skip. We've seen guys get to cooking, and they will pull up from damn near half court. Nobody says a thing. It doesn't matter if you're down 5 or you're up 20. A guy is feeling it, he's going to heat check to see just how hot I am.
Not up 35. 35?
Skip.
How often are you ever up 35?
A lot.
Oh,
And when you
yeah.
gonna go, let me ask you a question, Skip. What territory does LeBron need to mark? He's the only guy in the bubble. He's the only guy in this series that got a championship. The guy's a 4-time league MVP. He's a 3-time finals MVP, a 3-time All-Star game MVP, a 13-time first-team All-NBA, 6-time All-Defensive first team. And he needs to mark his territory for who? Now, maybe
I didn't say that.
if Kawhi...
I don't know who said that.
Hey, I don't know either. All that was, Skip, was a heat check. I just want y'all to let me see. Hey, I'm feeling good. Let me see if this thing
What
really
did I just say this was? If, in fact, he marked his territory, that requires some urination, right?
No,
Is that how you do
yeah.
it? And I told you, he's rubbing their nose in his urination as he marks his territory. It's what you do to young pups to teach them you can't do that in the house. And he was trying to do that to those young pups from Portland. You can't do that in my house.
You see this body? This body lets you know that he don't normally cook with Crisco.
Oh.
He normally cook with Pam or that coconut oil. But it's right here, that lard, that Crisco, he was on fire. So he let that thing go from Belgrade, Mug City. And they like, huh? And I saw Danny Green and JaVale go back there. It's like, he hit it from there. It's like Tiger Woods taking his rescue medal, his fairway wood, out of his bag, Skip, and hitting the shot 250 within 8 feet of the cup.
So you like him going back up the court going, yes, yes, yes. You like that?
I wish they'd have played that too short so he could have got done with it like Dame. Hey, I want him to get done with it. Yeah.
He's not from Oak County.
Oh, whoa. Hunting ain't no fun when the rabbit got a gun. Just imagine if you went hunting big game in Africa and he had a 308. Or he had a 30-30. Or he had an AR. Just imagine.
Was he a rabbit?
Yeah. So when Dame...
I didn't know he was a rabbit. Sometimes he plays like a rabbit, plays scared.
When Dame hit
Sometimes he runs from the free throw line like a rabbit.
Hold on. So when Dame hitting them logo shots, it's all good. Now
it's all competitive because the game's hanging in the balance. He's doing it competitively to get the Trailblazers back in the game. He's up 35, and it suddenly goes up 38. Yes.
You remember?
Yes.
Hold on. You remember what was that game?
That's what I'm talking about.
Skip, you remember in game 2? It was late in the ball game. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Blazers were down like 20 points. And, Dame reached in there and tried to get the ball from AD to hit the back of his foot, and he dislocated his finger. And after the game, the reporters asked Terry Stotts, what was Dame doing in the game? He like playing basketball. That's what LeBron James was doing. He playing basketball. So if you're in a basketball game, you shoot the ball. If you're in the basketball game, you rebound the ball. Okay, so what's the problem?
Does LeBron regularly shoot logo threes?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hold up. Do you remember? Hold up,
It's
Skip.
been months since I remember one.
Do you remember when Zion dunked on Kuzma? And what did he do? What did LeBron do? Oh, you want to dunk on Kuz? Well, put this in your pipe and smoke it, Chief. Wham! From 40. So, yes, he's done it. He will send a message to let everybody know.
I can't wait to see the Clippers and the Lakers because I'm going to bring it up one more time. Patrick Beverley, at 6 feet 1 inch tall, took 6 feet 9 LeBron. With the game on the line, LeBron forced to shoot a 3 to tie at the end of a Christmas Day game against the arch rival in-city Clippers. And Patrick Beverley blocked his shot on the way up because he's only 6'1", and he hit the ball so effectively hard and solidly that it went up and out of LeBron's hands, off his hands, out of bounds, game over. That's what you're up against, a team that is much mentally tougher and physically tougher than your team. And I can't wait for you to have... He's not going to be shooting any logo threes against the Clippers.
Oh, yeah, we will.
Just watch and wait.
Oh, yes, we will. And we'll make it. And we'll make it. And then guess what we did? Guess what happened when we played the Clippers in their building? We posted his little butt up, and we took him to the rack. And guess what we did? We got a triple-double and did a number on your guy, Kawhi. And you remember what happened hold on, do you remember what happened in the seeding game? The first one?
Yep.
Double him up. He wouldn't let Kawhi get a shot off and made Paul George airball it. That's what we did do. That's factual.
You won the first game because Avery Bradley hit 6 threes, including 4 in the third quarter, while the King was scoring zilch.
And then what happened in the fourth quarter?
And Avery Bradley said, I'm not going to the bubble. He's not there.
Let me ask you a question.
Don't have him to fall
what happened in the
back
fourth quarter? Because you told me the fourth quarter is where it's at. That's what you criticized Dame for. You say Dame is the best three-quarter guy in all of basketball. Okay, LeBron didn't do anything. Scored 2 points in the third quarter, no points in the third, but brought it home in the fourth. Give him his credit now. I need his flowers.
Front running.
Give me his flowers.
Front running, no pressure.
I want his flowers.
Out with a nice little lead.
You guys had the lead.
No pressure. No, you had the lead.
We got it back. We got it back.
Stop.
We got it back. Hold on. How we do that without LeBron in the game? You got Kawhi and Paul George in the game, and LeBron is there. So how that happen?
Every once in a while, somebody goes crazy and hits 4 threes in a quarter. Avery Bradley, who knew?
All right.
He hit no threes in the Christmas Day game. Way to go, Avery.
That's okay.
We'll have to wait and see. I do want to step away from LeBron. I promise. We will get back to him, guys. But I want to go here because the NBA continues to react to the shooting of Jacob Blake. And yesterday, Doc Rivers was asked about it. And, guys, he had some powerful words to share. Take a listen.
It's amazing to me why we keep loving this country, and this country does not love us back. And it's really so sad. Like, I should just be a coach. And it's so often reminded of my color. You know, it's just really sad. We got to do better. But we got to demand better.
Listen to this a couple times, and guys, it is powerful. Shannon, what was your reaction to what Doc had to say?
Ooh, those are some very, very powerful words, Skip.
Yes, sir.
He spoke emotionally. He spoke from the heart, because I can tell his heart breaks. And if you are a black man in America and you have a son, you've had the talk, and it's just not one talk. You know, I was listening to Ernie Johnson talk about how he talked to his son about the birds and the bees.
Yep.
But black men and black families must have a never-ending conversation of how we're supposed to interact. Something our counterparts do not have to have.
Nope.
And so, as Doc is saying, wow, you know, okay, Skip, we felt he was going, and they're going to use it, well, we felt we were in danger, so not shoot him one time. We're not shooting 2 times, not 3 times, not 4, not 5, not 6, 7 to the back. Skip, I thought it was the amount of, because they said as a normal citizen, you must use the reasonable enough force to diffuse a situation. So the reasonable amount of force to get this man to comply with what you was asking was 7 shots to his back. Skip, I've been thinking an awful lot about this. And black skin is a weapon. Skip, if you view my black skin as a weapon, you will never see me as being unarmed, because I'm always black. If you view my black skin as a threat, you will never see me as non-threatening. And therein lies the problem, because of how you view me. Skip, I saw yesterday this lady, Skip. She adopted a biracial son. She has a white son. She says statistically, my brown child is more apt to have run afoul with the law. That's what she said about her own child.
Sure.
While not saying statistically her white son is more apt to commit mass murder. But you see how she did that. So if she feels that about her own child, what does she think about someone's child that isn't hers? That's the problem, Skip. Unless you can see yourself. It's hard to see yourself as a black man or a black woman in America if you're not that, because you don't believe that can happen to you. See, COVID can happen. Diseases can happen, Skip. That's why people empathize with cancer, because no matter how much you exercise and how healthy you eat, cancer can affect you. So you can empathize with someone that's going through that, because you see the ravages that cancer can do to a body. But this gun violence, unarmed black men and women being gunned down in the street by police officers, Skip, you can't fathom that. That can't reach me. And then so many people lack the empathy to place themselves in that situation. Skip, like Doc says, we keep loving a country that doesn't love us back. Every war that's been fought in America, Skip, every war that's been fought abroad, blacks have fought in that war. They fought for things that they never received at home. In the Revolutionary War, Skip, they fought for freedoms, but when the war was over, we won. Back to slavery you go. World War II, World War I, World War II. You fought overseas for freedoms, but when you came back, Jim Crow South waited for you.
Agreed.
So what we're asking for, Skip, we're not asking for a handout. I'm not saying give me anything because I'm black, but I'm also asking you not to deny me anything because I'm black. Until, and Doc said it best, we're going to have to break this union.
The police union, yes.
The police union. Skip, I know you remember this. The air traffic controllers, they went on strike. They demanded something. President Reagan said, I'm going to give you 24 hours to get your butt back on the job. Guess what they did? They didn't come back. He fired every last one of them and says, you're banned from rehiring them for life. President Clinton had to lift that, I think, back in 92, 93. You're going to have to break the union. It's too powerful. They have too much control. Because, Skip, no matter how wrong you are, they're going to band around you and says, okay, this was acceptable. Skip, I'm going to turn it over to you, Skip. I watched Dick Gregory, and he said something very interesting. He said, you're going to have to make these officers take out insurance like you do a doctor. He says, because then, if they're culpable for their actions, you have to ask yourself, do you hate black people more than you love your family? Because if there's monetary or there's a risk that you could go to jail, those are some serious questions that you're going to have to ask yourself before you leave home.
I hear and I hurt for everything you just said. And let me say about Doc Rivers, for whom I have the highest regard as a coach and a human. We've had him here on the show. He's just in the highest echelon of anybody I've ever been around.
He is.
On and off the court.
Yep.
It's one thing when I hear LeBron speak out or CP3 speak out as the leaders of this sport, and it's great and it's powerful, but it's not as powerful as that. This is a long-time decorated head coach in this league, a black man from the west side of Chicago whose father was a cop. They were in Maywood, which is a majority black township on the west side of Chicago. Doc started at Proviso East High School, which has great basketball tradition. So I'm sure his father, Grady, was very proud of him. But his father moved up the ranks, Maywood, became a lieutenant, 30 years served the force. So Doc knows what of he speaks.
Correct.
He's heard it from the inside out, the problems facing a cop.
Right.
Out in the street. He knows it from his father, Grady. He gets it and feels it in ways I don't think many people can through the eyes of a cop. Obviously a black cop in mostly a black neighborhood, but still. And he went into the detail of that the training of the policemen has to change,
Correct.
number one. And as you point out, unions have to be broken. My dad was a cop, and he said, I believe in good cops. Who doesn't believe in good cops? This nation is propped up by good cops.
Right.
We're able to stay afloat because of good cops.
Right.
But the bad apples, to me, are still in place. So as horrified as I was by the Jacob Blake, where it happened again while they're all down in the bubble talking about this, campaigning about this, I first thought, how could it happen again after all we've been through? The bad apples are still in place.
Correct.
And I don't know what was in those officers' hearts, but it was nothing great. It was nothing right. It was... There's a better way to have handled that situation. Obviously, there's a better way than to shoot the man in the back 7 times because he's running to his driver's side door.
5 officers, and I think if I'm not correct, it might have been more, on the scene, can't subdue one man.
One man. And then when they can't, and he runs for the driver's side door, and they can see he's got his kids in the car, right?
Right.
The only way to stop him is to shoot him in the back. I mean, we could go on for hours about this. There's a stun gun. There's you could use your baton. You could do a lot of things to subdue him.
Just tackle the man.
You could just tackle him.
That's
you could
all
do a lot of things.
But Skip, I mean, it doesn't really take much to become a police officer. And then like Doc said, the training of how they treat people. Skip, I've read and I saw this. There was a man in Florida. He killed his parents. He stabbed the other guy that had called the police. He's eating one of the guy's face. The female officer arrives on the scene. She tases him. She can't subdue him. They wait 12 minutes. They take him alive. He killed 2 people, stabbed another. She tased him. She waits 12 minutes. Almost think about that. 12 minutes. She waits 12 minutes for backup to arrive. The guy kneeled on George Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. You see how they handle us as opposed to how they handle them. That's all I'm asking. Jillian Ruth, how you go into a church, kill 9 people, escape? The call goes out, he's armed and well, obviously he's armed. Skip, hell, he just killed 9 people in the church. You catch him, bring him back, and stop him off to get a meal because he's hungry. Homes in Colorado, the movie theater. Skip, I used to go to the movie theater. Skip, I could walk to the movie theater. I lived that close to it. He kills 12. They bring him in so peacefully.
All right, 2 quick episodes I've had with police over the last few years, just to give you white versus black perspective. Okay, the first one happened 6 months ago, just before the pandemic hit. I just got in a new car. It has 755 horsepower. And after a show, I was going out to hit some golf balls, and I was at a leisurely pace. I wasn't trying to speed at all. I wasn't even thinking about speeding, but I was on Olympic Boulevard, which you know very well.
I do.
And it's how many lanes across? Like 8 lanes, right? And there was little to no traffic. And I came up over a rise, and I wasn't even thinking about pushing down the accelerator. And there's a motorcycle cop with his gun up, and I am busted. And he just, he didn't even have to wave me over. I just pulled over because I
know you got your dead to rights.
I am dead to rights. And I told him that. When he walked up, white cop to white guy, obviously, he comes up to the driver's side, You in a hurry? Nope, I'm not in a hurry. You got me. And I just gave myself up. Right. Just write it up. I didn't tell him that, but I figured he'd just write me up. Right. He said I was going 55, and it's 35 miles an hour, which I didn't even know Olympic was 35.
Right.
Okay, I did, as Shaq said last night, I did all the right things that he teaches his, obviously, black sons. You have to comply. Right. I complied. I complied because he got me. You know, like I couldn't even argue. I had nothing not a leg to stand on. And guess what he did? I don't think he knew who I was, quote unquote. I don't think he didn't indicate that at all. He just wrote me a warning and sent me on my way. If I'd been, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. If I'd been black, do you think I would have gotten a warning? No. I don't know, but I doubt it.
I doubt it too.
Okay.
Skip, there was a guy in Valdosta. He complied. They asked him because they said there was somebody that was a burglar. And we saw this. And he complied. He said, "You have ID?" He said, "Sure."
I got it.
He gave him his ID. What did they do? They come up from behind, they dump him and break his wrist.
Got it.
So he did everything they asked, and it still ended up with a broken wrist.
Second episode I had was a few years back. Ernestine and I, my wife Ernestine, we were in Oklahoma City visiting who's then still alive, my mother. Okay. And we had just been to her home, and we were going back to our hotel, and we were going through the neighborhood I grew up in, which is sort of lower white class. It's lower middle class, I would say, but it's white. It's I don't know if it's all white now. It might be some black, but whatever. It's mostly white neighborhood. Right. And we were in a rented Mustang. The only car they had when we flew into the Oklahoma City airport was a black Mustang with black rims and tinted windows. I'm not prone to drive that kind of car, but I was driving that kind of car through this neighborhood. Right. And all of a sudden I look up, I'm just puttering. I'm going 25 miles an hour. We're talking about my mom and her health. And I look, and there were red lights flashing behind me. And I think, what do we do? I don't know. So I pull over on a side street, and all of a sudden, there's a second cop car coming. They got two cop cars. Right. Ernestine is out of her mind, and she said, "We're being profiled because of our car." Right. Maybe because they thought we were
in the neighborhood.
Yes, yes, right? So she's angry, and two cops are getting out of the car behind us, and she swings her the passenger side door open, and she's getting out, and I'm grabbing her like, "You can't get out. They will not allow it. You know this.
Yeah, exactly.
You cannot. That's not complying."
Right.
Well, it just happened to be a black female cop coming from that side. Right. And you know what she said to Ernestine? "Get your ass back in the car." And she should have. And I'm trying to pull her back. You can't do this. Right. And fortunately, that guy comes to, the male cop comes to my side, white guy, and he looks and he says, "Oh, Mr. Bayless, we're sorry," and they just let us go, but they pulled us over. So help me out. Would it have been different if we'd been, way different?
I have tinted windows. And tinted windows is the end game.
It is.
Because they say we're pulling over you because you're tint, and now they're all of a sudden they're looking around. Do I see anything? Do I smell anything? That's the end. Skip, look. And I think the thing is that when we talk about cops, because there are some very good ones, but the very bad ones that's been in position for, it's just like a football team, Skip. This is why you try to get bad apples out of your locker room, because you don't want them to have influence over the good ones that's coming up. Because if you leave those bad ones in there too long, they will corrupt the good ones. And then the good ones will think, this is the way you do business. This is the way he was taught. This is the way he was taught. Skip, when I got to Denver, I looked at Steve Atwater. I looked at Dennis Smith and see how guys acted, guys that were accomplished. And I said, well, that's how I want to be. I want to be respectful. I want to help the other guys. So when Rod Smith and the other guys, Terrell Davis and the other guys came along, that's how I was to them. No, I got it. So these bad apple cops, the racist cops, they got hired with no, they were just shooed in. There's no checks and balances in the hiring process, and they're afloat. They got jobs right now. Skip, they haven't been weeded out. It's like if you're a doctor and you have all these red flags, there's only so many times that you're going to have an insurer that will insure you. And then there's like, we can't. Because the malpractice is just too high, it's just not worth it. Well, if police officer Skip, the guy Chauvin had 17, 18 citations.
He did.
And he's still a cop.
Where he'd been investigated.
He had he already shot people.
He had.
But still yet, he's on the force. How many times
Union protection.
Thank you. Skip, if you get a couple of DUIs, you'll lose your license. You can't drive. But these guys can shoot and do all they can. And guess what? And still, you should have to have a license. If you can take someone's life, a doctor can do that, police officer, pilots, can you be a pilot without a license? Hell no.
Good point.
Can you be a doctor without a license? Hell no. But you can be a police officer.
You can. And you're able to use deadly force.
Deadly force. You got to get rid of qualified immunity. You got to break their union, Skip, because the standard is so high.
Yep.
Just imagine, Skip, if that was the standard used in order for you to convict a normal citizens if they were to murder or manslaughter someone. If that was the standard that the police get, that benefit of the doubt. Man, there'd be so many people walking around.
I'm with you.
It's ridiculous. Doc, that was powerful, and I know your heart breaks.
Boy, we have a long way to go as a country. And, you know, I've listened to Doc a couple times. I've read through it every time. And this is what I keep going back to. If you watch the video, you don't need to be black to be outraged. You need to be American and outraged. And, boy, did he say that right. And I hope a lot of people are listening and continuing to realize that we have a long way to go.
No mercy.
Paul George reverted back to playoff peace, scoring a game-high 35 points while shooting 4-8 from three. And after the game, he admitted the restart of the season, well, it hadn't been easy. Take a listen.
The bubble got the best of me. I was just in a dark place. I really wasn't here. I checked out. So these past couple games, it was just difficult. But, you know, shout out to people that stood behind me, that was in my corner, the positivity, my teammates, my family, friends, everybody. Thank everybody that reached out to me. I was just in a bad place, and I found my way. I'm back, and I look forward to the rest of this run.
Wow. Well, appreciate his honesty there. Shannon, are you surprised he talked about this?
I'm not, because, Skip, I think we're seeing more athletes being open and honest with themselves when it comes to dealing with these mental issues. Now, I'm not saying Paul has mental issues, but he admitted that playing in the bubble, it doesn't even seem like it's the playoff. Because, Skip, you know, the playoff, the intensity, the crowd, and your hype, you're like, woo, and everybody's going. It's like, but now you can hear everything being said from every bench. You can hear every call, and it's like, it doesn't even feel like that. And he admitted that he let the criticism that was being spewed at him on social media, he let it get the best of it.
And he did.
And thanks to his friends and his loved ones and family members that believe in Paul, that he was able to rebound. Doc talked about it in his presser, that Paul came up to his room after the game and they talked about the game. Obviously, they talked about basketball, but they talked about a lot of other things other than basketball. And I think that's what makes Doc so good, Skip. Doc, you know, having played the game, being a father of an NBA player, Doc understands what goes on sometimes in the minds of these athletes. But for Paul to admit that, kudos to him. Because a lot of times, Skip, people look at athletes as being superhuman. Like nothing affects them, Skip. Like, oh, man, you got all this money, you got this talent, you can do things that only people wish they could do. But you're human. You have emotions. Being great at something does not exempt you from some of the problems that go on in a normal person's life. And Paul George basically said, I was in a dark place. And some of the things that was being said, it affected me. I allowed it to affect me. But I'm back now. And I understand that this is the situation that we're in, Skip. They're not going to bring fans. I guess in the second round, Skip, they'll start letting some family members come into the bubble. But there are not going to be 15,000 people in the stand. They're not going to even be probably 1,000 people in the stands. And you're going to have to accept that. But for Paul to admit that the bubble has started to get in the best, and Skip, we heard LeBron say it's different. Skip, we're so routine. You even more routine than me. You get up at the same time. You do the exact same thing.
I do.
You get here at the exact same time every single day. So I can imagine you having to be in a bubble, having to do this show. You lose, you like.
No, I would adapt to it.
I'm saying.
I would set up a new routine that would work in the bubble, and then I would be driven on that routine.
But it's so different for these guys. It's something that, you know, I think Paul's been in the league, 10, 11 years? And he's like, maybe not that long, but he's like, man, this is different. But kudos to him for opening it up and making himself seem vulnerable. Because sometimes people don't like vulnerabilities. And he exposed his. Okay.
I'm going to agree with you on that level, the life level. But then there's this other level, basketball. But first on the life level, I'm 1,000% with you. For him to talk publicly about what he referred to as his mental health or lack thereof, for him to admit he was suffering anxiety, and he said, he used the word depression. It took some guts to do that.
Yeah.
And he went to dark place. He went to I was lost. All publicly, he admitted to this and embraced it publicly, and I respect that. I respect it a lot. And he said that because there are no fans in the stands, that he lost his edge, his attitude, his enthusiasm, his drive for playing basketball. He couldn't find it anymore.
Right.
And I do think they're all suffering at this stage what I would call cabin fever, where, yeah, you're cooped up. It's not like the worst. It's not like you're
Skip,
in prison.
you missed the oohs and the ahs.
Okay, but you don't, yeah, when the game's over, as Doc said, you just have to go back to your hotel room immediately, home or away, doesn't matter what the game is, you just have to go back to your hotel room. And after a while, it wears on them psychologically because you don't get to go home.
It's a lot easier when you win.
Yeah.
But PG hasn't played well in the last 3 games. So now, Skip, you're going back to your hotel room alone with your thoughts. That's the last place you want to be when you don't play well, is alone with your own thoughts.
Okay. Now, I'm going to go on the basketball level.
Okay.
On the star level. We all know and we all agree this is a very talented basketball player.
Absolutely.
There's never been any doubt about that. Kenny Smith was saying last night, isn't he like a top 10 player in talent? Yeah. Maybe somewhere in there, top 15.
Yes.
But for that guy, for the co-star on a team that I root for, I'll be the first to tell you, I don't love this open-hearted public admission of any kind of frailty or any kind of sort of psychological weakness, because it opens you up to the other teams that they don't fear you as much because you're showing them your vulnerability. And you know, you play, I'm being cold-blooded here, but this is at the highest level of playoff football or basketball. You cannot show your opponent too much weakness, if any.
Well,
right?
that's Skip, and you play sports, it's the top of the top.
Yep.
It's eat or be eaten.
There you go.
We prey on the weak.
Woo.
We find the weak link. So if your cornerback is suspect, we're going to pick on him. If you got a weak offensive lineman, we're going to put our best pass rusher on his side. So we're going to prey on that. That's just the way it is, Skip. I'm sorry. The old and the weak get eaten.
Okay, so in Game 6, do you think some of the Mavericks are going to lean over and whisper to him, you feeling anxiety?
You weak. You soft.
Soft? Right, okay. So I've always said about Paul George, he's a nice guy. I call him George Paul when he goes into these slump funks, but he's a complimentary star. He's not an alpha personality. He's not Shannon Sharpe. Kawhi has quiet alpha in him, but he's more of a leader than Paul George is. Pat Bev, Lou, they've all got alpha in them, right? I think Marcus Morris has alpha in him.
Yeah.
But Paul is complimentary. He's very talented. You could argue he's the most talented player on the team. I don't know. You could. At 6'8", could shoot threes.
And smooth, effortless.
He's got it all.
But Skip, what I can't understand is that, you say he's complimentary, but I've seen him as the lead dog push the big three Heat to the brink.
I guess I never trusted that he was going to push him over the edge.
Yeah, but I mean, Skip, he did that.
I don't think LeBron ever feared him because I think LeBron knew deep down he's not the alpha. He's not. He doesn't have that dog in him.
I mean, for him to come back from what he came back from, Skip,
it was impressive. I mean, once he got going, and you know what? He's so fortunate to have Doc Rivers as his coach because, as you point out, Doc took him up in his hotel room and they talked for hours into the late night about life, not about basketball, about life, what it all means. And somehow Paul came to grips. Okay, I'm in the bubble, but it's not all bad. And so Doc is saying, we love you. We believe in you. Kawhi was telling him, we believe, just shoot.
Right.
So Doc told him, I want you to come out firing and don't look back.
He was
and what did he do? He came out and took the first shot and made it. Way
9
to go.
points in the first 6-11.
There you go. Okay. He missed his second shot, but he didn't back down. He just kept on firing. Boy, they started really going in.
But you know what? This is on 2 levels, Skip. This goes to show how Paul George and how trusting he is of Doc and that he's willing to reject himself because PG was dated Doc's daughter. And we know what happened.
Yeah.
And for Doc,
very good point.
And for Doc to put that aside.
Forgive and forget.
For Doc to put it, say, this ain't about a coach. This is about man to man. You're going through something.
Yep.
How can I help you?
Because he did disrespect Doc's daughter.
Yes.
He did.
And Skip, there's a stigma in our community and the black community about, talking about mental issues and seeming weak and seeming vulnerable. But I believe you can be vulnerable and not be weak.
Yeah.
But I can believe you can be weak and not be vulnerable. People want to make those things, they have to go hand in hand, and I don't believe they are. But for Paul George, we've got to get out of that in our community, is that if somebody says that they're dealing with things or they're depressed, because for the longest time, you ain't depressed. Figure it out. Sometimes you need somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Maybe PG just needed Doc to talk to him.
He did.
And maybe, you know what? This man could have so much anger and so much fuss for what I did to his family.
Yep. It's a great point.
He's like, man,
Yep.
he talking to me like a dad.
He did.
He talking to me like I'm his son. He sincerely
That's what he
cares
talked to him
about
like.
me.
Yep. And I think those teammates came up and hugged him.
Yes.
He needed a big hug
Yes.
from everybody.
Yes.
We love you. We believe in
Yes.
you. Just go shoot.
Yes.
He even started out the game on Luka. So they're saying, you take Luka
Right.
and you shoot it every time you touch the
Right.
basketball.
This is why coaching, sometimes it's more than X's and O's.
Yep.
Sometimes it's being able to communicate with a man to man.
I agree.
I don't want to talk about no basketball. I don't want to talk about the X's and O's. I don't want to talk about no pin down. I don't want to talk about no catch and shoot, no screens. I don't want to talk about any of that.
I agree.
Let me tell you what's going on, Doc.
That's why, to me, I've always said Doc was the best coach. I've always put him above Popovich because I don't know if Coach Pop could do quite that, what Doc did with Paul George.
Yeah.
Not that.
Maybe Skip, Pop just seems so curmudgeonly.
That's the problem.
And Doc seems so relatable.
Yeah. See, Pop is Belichick, and
Yeah.
Belichick's not going to give you a hug.
No.
He's not going to try to talk you through this.
No.
Nope. Yep.
Hard to find negatives about Doc Rivers today. Boy, just as a coach, a man, a leader, we can't say enough about him right now. Good stuff from Paul George. We appreciate that honesty.
No mercy.
The Clippers bounced back in a huge way last night, routing the Mavericks 154-111. They held Luka Dončić to 22 points on 6 of 17 shooting and suffocated him really the whole game. But there was some controversy in the third quarter when Marcus Morris stepped on Luka's ankle. After the game, the Mavs star questioned whether it was intentional, but said only Morris would know for sure what his intentions were. Morris denied it and said, quote, "I'm not apologizing for bleep." Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard joining us now. Chris, good morning. Start with you. Do you believe this was intentional?
Look, I really like Marcus Morris. I like his toughness, his competitiveness, his fearlessness. I think he's a great addition for the Clippers. And I hate to accuse anyone of doing what, if indeed it was on purpose, is about one of the worst things you could do on a basketball court. Because thank God he didn't really re-injure that ankle of Luka Dončić, especially when he denies it so strongly on Twitter, right? I mean, he used words like respect for others, respect for myself, morals, and all of that. So when you see that type of denial, you almost say, man, if he's lying about this, he is really a low-down person. But when I watch the video, I feel like there's only one conclusion you can come to because it looks like he took almost like an awkward step.
He did.
Right? It's like a little extra length on that step to get to Luka's ankle. And so I do think it was on purpose. And look, Marcus Morris, and look at what he did right after he picks up the shoe. So again, you might look at it like, oh, it was accidental. He's picking up his shoe. But that's Morris's MO. Throughout his career, look at the many incidents he's had. He's subtle. He is conniving. Whenever he gets in a little scuffle or fall into the ground, he has a way to make it look accidental and get in a little extra jab or something like that. Remember, he's been involved in 2 major incidents already in this series. Game 1, he kind of gives Luka a little something extra, and that's what gets Porzingis into the altercation,
right.
And Porzingis is suspended. And then game 3, I think he kind of, again, a little something subtle to Luka and pushed him into Montrezl Harrell, and that's when Luka says to Montrezl, stop flopping, big man. So Morris is subtle with this stuff, and I think he was subtle again here. And the denial, it makes sense. Nobody can ever prove he did it on purpose unless he just admits it.
Let me ask you a question.
So in a situation like that, you can just deny, and say, I don't care what it looks like. I didn't do it on purpose. So I do think it was intentional.
Both of you guys have covered the sports business, quarter century for you, 40-plus years for Skip. Skip, have you ever heard a player do something and say, yeah, I did that on purpose?
Maybe here and there, but rarely.
Exactly.
Yeah, rare. But it happens. But yeah, it's rare. It's rare. But he went so far with the denial. But again, looking at what my eyes tell me and his history, yeah, I'm just glad Luka wasn't hurt seriously. But that was low. That was low, and I think it was intentional.
Go ahead.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris Broussard. I am here to make the case that Luka is not quite as innocent as everybody portrays him to be. I think there's some wolf in sheep's clothing operating here, because I did think he wasn't really pushed into Montrez the other day when that incident started. I thought he tripped up Montrez and then looked sideways and with a profanity attached, accused him of flopping, which then triggered Montrez to go up the court and say what he said. We talked about that the other day. In this case, do I know for a fact that Marcus Morris stepped intentionally on his foot? I don't. But I'm with both of you. It sure looks like he did. And I don't have a major problem with it, because I believe Marcus Morris, who considers himself an elder statesman on this team and an enforcer on this team, was retaliating for what Luka had done maybe 6-7 minutes earlier near the end of the first quarter to Reggie Jackson. If we could see this one more time, underneath the basket, Reggie Jackson is standing, if we could see it, please, and shot goes up, and guess what? Luka basically sucker punches Reggie Jackson in the back of the head. He takes a swipe at him. You can see it from the overhead more clearly. He just swings on him. There, you saw it, and uses it's sort of.
He was trying to tip the ball out.
Yeah, he hit him with.
I was gonna say, it looks to me like he's going for the ball.
No, he hit him right in the back of the head with the palm, sort of the hard palm of his hand, and it's a sucker punch or a rabbit punch, and it knocked Reggie Jackson completely out of bounds and on his back. And I thought maybe Reggie hit the back of his head on the hardwood, but that's not what was happening there. He got sucker punched. They did not make any issue of it after the game, but Reggie obviously had to leave the game, go to the locker room, get checked out, concussion protocol, was able to come back and play well in the game. Thank God for that. But again, Luka started it, and I believe Marcus Morris tried to finish it. So Luka, again, was saying, he's saying all this bad stuff to me. Well, yeah, they're coming after you because you had a reputation last year that grew, that you were soft. You were vulnerable psychologically if teams got physical with you and roughed you up. And the Clippers are trying to do just that. So maybe you could say just the style of play is forcing Lucas to retaliate himself. But in this case, last night, Luka started it.
See, you see what Skip did? He about Luka started it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Well, wait a second. You don't think he punched him in the back of the head?
I thought he was trying to knock the ball out.
Hit him right in the back of the head. He is
the ball's right there, though.
He is a shrewd operator, Luka Dončić. He has basketball genius, and he cold-cocked him with a shot right into the back of the head. It's pretty clear to me.
Skip, what'd you say? What'd you say that Marcus Morris says he plays the game with integrity? He plays.
Yep.
What was Skip? Read
he
the
says,
quote.
To think I would injure somebody is crazy to me. 10 years going against the best. I stand on morals and hard work. I compete and leave it out there every game.
Do we got that video? Pull these videos. And I want the people at home to watch this. Now, you tell me tell me this is. Look at this. So I just want to know what that is. Is that how morals and integrity?
His face, like you got a problem with it?
I just want to know, is that integrity? Is that now? Watch this, Ben Simmons. Oh, really? Yeah, what?
That's what I'm talking about. The little subtle.
What he does with his knee?
Little something. Right.
Oh, so yeah, that's really. So that's how Morris in charge.
That's his reputation. That's the way he's always played.
I
got it.
Skip.
I got it.
All I'm saying is just own it.
Yeah,
I
was surprised he vehemently denied it. Right.
Yes.
I got nothing to apologize for. He did say it was a mistake, deal with it. So he admitted, I accidentally stepped on his foot.
As Chris say, he changed his walking pattern to get an extra elongated step with the left so he could take his left and step on Luka's left.
Okay.
But here's the thing with intent. Intent only matters to the defendant. Intent only matters to the person committing the act.
Yep.
Luka still got his ankle stepped on.
Okay.
So, and you did it. Look, now, probably Charles Oakley would have done something. He probably told you, yeah, I did it, so what you going to do about it?
He would have said it. Yeah.
But he would have said that to the person. He wouldn't have said that to the media.
He would have.
He'd have said that to the guy's face.
Agreed.
We all know who our Oak is. So, but this situation here, he did this on purpose. He has a history of this type of behavior. Just own it.
Whew.
I think, too, Skip, again, I agree with you that Luka is doing some subtle things himself. But I don't think the Reggie Jackson one was. I think he was going for the ball and just accidentally hit him. But I also think if Morris had been retaliating for that, I think he would have said that. I think he would have said, look, you saw what he did to Reggie. He knocked Reggie out of the game. I'm going to defend my players. I am, that's my job on this team to defend my players. I think he would have came out like that. So I don't think this had anything to do with the Reggie Jackson situation, or I firmly believe Morris would have said so.
I'm not so sure about that. And by the way, the refs felt so sorry for Luka. Did you see what happened? It might have been just a play or so later. He tried to inbound the ball, and he slipped. Yeah. He had put his shoe back on. Do we have that? He put his shoe back on. Whoops. Oh, wait a second. You just touched the ball in bounds. It's a turnover.
Yeah.
It's a turnover. You got to call it. Blow the whistle.
What did I tell you yesterday, Skip?
Kane Fitzgerald.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he threw. Hold on. Didn't he throw Carlisle out the game?
Wait, you just inbounded the ball.
Oh, Chris Broussard.
Yeah.
Kane Fitzgerald threw Rick Carlisle out of the game.
He did.
After he handed Tim Hardaway Jr. the ball and allowed Doc to call a timeout to challenge the play. You can't do that.
Kane Fitzgerald said he was already trying to challenge before he handed in the ball.
Okay, then
that's what he said.
So why'd you hand him the ball then?
Well, it was another ref who was hearing the challenge.
I told y'all Kane Fitzgerald on that bull. I told y'all about Kane Fitzgerald. I've been trying to tell you.
It's been a bad series for Kane.
Yeah, it's been a very bad series.
Yeah. Well, all I know is I don't want to hear any more Larry Bird talk about Luka Dončić.
No,
I don't want to hear any more Baby Bird.
You hear more.
15 years.
Yes.
He starts off the game shooting another air ball. He shot 3 on Sunday. That's 4 in 2 games. 4 air balls? Larry Bird might have never shot an air ball in his whole NBA career. It's possible he never shot one.
I know Larry Bird won 21 to hit a game winner.
Yeah. Well, just stop it. He was 1 for 6 last night. He's pathetic from 3.
Don't do that, Skip.
In Larry Bird's first NBA Finals, he had 2 8-point games.
Okay.
Now, if you had Undisputed back then, 1981, whatever that was, you would be destroying Larry Bird. 2 8-point games. Cornbread
Maxwell was the MVP.
The final? Yes.
And wait, Larry Bird was a rookie?
No, his second year.
Second year. Yeah. But still, he was older. Remember, he stayed in college a long time, so he was older than Luka is right now. He's about 24.
Oh, so Larry, Chris, you're saying Larry Bird's overrated? Is that what you're saying? I just want to know.
You see what he did, Chris?
I'm just saying, let's keep it real. Larry Bird wasn't perfect either. All right, so if you're gonna judge Luka on a bad game here or there,
oh really?
Remember, Larry Bird had him too on the big stage.
Luka leads the playoffs in missed free throws so far. Larry Bird was a 91% playoff free throw shooter.
All I know is I'm getting me a 77 jersey, so you get ready.
Good. Yeah, you do need to get one. I can't believe you don't have one yet.
I'm gonna give me a 77 jersey.
No mercy. Well, the Lakers were already up by 35 points in Game 4. LeBron decided to drain his own logo three-pointer right after crossing half court to put LA up 38. The shot was from almost the same exact spot as Damian Lillard's logo shot from Game 1. And the big lead suggests that LeBron's shot was an answer, saying, quote, the only reason James fired that shot from that spot at that moment was to mark his territory. Chris Broussard is still with us, but Skip, I would like to start with you. Should the Blazers have taken this personally?
I don't know what made me sicker. LeBron doing this or LeBron getting a pass for doing this. Yeah, if I were a Trailblazer, I would have been offended and outraged. And I would take my offense and my outrage into this game tonight, in which they are 13.5-point underdogs, and they should play with some rage and retaliation just for that. The game clearly had been way decided. The Lakers were up 35 points. And LeBron James, the king, as he calls himself, had the audacity to take and make a 36-foot shot and then run back up the court, giving it a yes, yes, yes. As if you just hit a game-winning walk-off shot in Game 7. What are you doing, LeBron James? He is lucky that this is the ultimate rub-your-nose-in-it shot. It's the ultimate showboating, hot-dogging, front-running shot that if you were playing the sport of baseball, you would get the next pitch the next time up right between your eyes, right at your ear, because you saw what happened in baseball last week. Fernando Tatis playing for San Diego against the Rangers. It's 1 out in the 8th. They're up 10-3, and it's 3-0, and he swings on a 3-0 pitch, and he jacks it, a grand slam. And the Rangers were so outraged that Manny Machado was up next. And where did the pitch go? It went behind him. It's called a purpose pitch. A message got sent. Chris Woodward, the Rangers manager, got tossed for signing off on this.
He ordered the cold red, huh?
Yeah, that's right. But he said after the game, we took that personally as a group. You should too, Trailblazers. 13.5 dogs that you are tonight. You don't have Damian Lillard, obviously. You don't have Zach Collins, but you got Melo, you got Gary Trent Jr., and you got Whiteside, and you got Nurkic, and you got those kids who've all come in and played pretty good big minutes for you. Come out and play it like you mean it. Give it right back to the king and those front-running Lakers who will not take you at all seriously tonight, and make this a game. I want to see you effectively fight back and effectively go down swinging.
So before you go, Chris, so what should the Blazers do? The Blazers should come out and do what now? Play
harder. You know, push back. I want to see a physical game. I want to see LeBron get bounced around a little bit. I want to see a little Marcus Morris action. That's what I want to see. Yeah.
You know what, Skip? Here's what I say to the Blazers. Take it personally. Be offended. Be upset. Be ticked off, whatever you want. This is when I didn't play pro sports, of course, like Shannon did. But I do not want to hear pros complain about somebody running up the score, somebody taking a 35-footer when the game's out of hand, somebody dunking when the game is, out of hand or anything like this. If you don't like it, stop them. Yep. That's it. If you don't like LeBron James taking a 35-footer, then defend him. Block the shot, come back, hit a 35-footer in his face, dunk on him, whatever. These are pros. You are being paid to do this. It's not CYO, not YMCA, not NCAA even. You are paid to do it. So I hate it when I hear about, the unwritten rules. I love what Fernando Tatis did.
Me too.
He got him a grand slam.
Yep. A cheap RBI.
Right. Strike me out next time if you don't like it. So I'm totally fine with what LeBron did. I do. Look, knowing LeBron, LeBron doesn't like being shown up. I know he respects Dame Lillard. We all know that. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't like anybody showing him up or getting a little more love than him. And so I do think there's no coincidence that he took that shot from about where Dame took it and buried it.
What
and
are you
he was
talking
in his
about? That game was close. In fact, the Trailblazers were, as usual, trailing in that game when he took that shot.
Well, you should have took it.
No, I'm not saying the circumstance was the same, but where it was on the floor, he's showing you, Dame is great, but I can do it too. And he did do it. So
35?
I'm totally fine with it. Yes.
You're not playing basketball. You're showboating.
Hold up.
Come out and beat us tonight then.
Chris, I remember in 2007, the New England Patriots were up 35-0 on the half at the Tennessee Titans. That was the year Tom Brady was the first unanimous MVP. They end up going on. Tom Brady is throwing touchdown passes late in the fourth quarter. Yep. 59-0. Not one time did I hear Skip Bayless talking about you shouldn't run the score up. Hold on.
Okay, time out.
Yeah.
Did he throw an 80-yard bomb on 3rd and short? Did he do that? See, that'd just be tricking them. That'd be rubbing their nose in it.
He's running his offense.
He's just running the offense.
Yeah, that's what LeBron did.
He's playing football. LeBron's not playing basketball.
Yes, he is.
No,
what are you playing? Let me tell you what the Blazers should do.
That's a common shot today's NBA.
Chris,
yeah. LeBron takes them right and left.
Let me tell you what the
routinely.
Blazers should do tonight. They should pack all their bags and bring them to the arena. So that way, once they lose this game, they can go right to the airport and get on the plane and get back to Portland. That's what they should do.
Yeah.
Because that's it. The lady, she's in the corner, and she having some warm water with lemon. She warming up them vocal cords because it's over. It's over, Skip Bayless. You know that, I know that. And this is what we know about LeBron. You remember early in the year when Zion dunked on Kuzma? What did LeBron come back right down the court and do, Chris? Launched a 40-footer to say, oh, you think you bad? You think you better than me?
No, you think
Zion ain't got nothing on me.
Well, wait until the Lakers run headlong into the Clippers. Let's see who's got that dog in him. Let's see who's mentally toughest because it ain't the king.
Hey, look here. My guy, and on AD, they on a mission.
Yeah.
They on a mission. Like I said, Chris, I may or may not have communicated with the both of them. I may or may not. That's neither here nor there.
You know this is mental and physical athletic warfare. And if taking that 35-footer sends a message to the Blazers and buries
put them in their place.
What's wrong with doing it?
Yeah, the worst defensive team in basketball. Just shut them down. Shoot a 36-footer when they're down 35. Yeah. Make it 38 and go, yes.
You put them in their
That's
place
what I'm talking about.
Down 35.
We don't get down 35.
Well.
But see, Skip, here's the thing. This is what I tell you. Man, don't run the score up on you. Yeah. I do you a favor if I run the score up on you. Because, see, if I beat you by a few points, you think a few possessions here, a few possessions there, we could have won this game. I beat you by 50, you know you got no chance.
The Clippers scored 151 points last night playing basketball. They just played basketball.
Hello.
They did it the right way.
Why are you shooting threes?
They don't have to showboat.
Hey,
they don't have to front run.
Chris, why you up 30 points, 40 points, and you come in shooting threes? Because guess what? You're playing basketball. LeBron James playing basketball.
Yes.
He might pull up.
That's what I'm talking about.
Ain't no telling where he gonna pull up from the night.
Come on, Trailblazers. Show me something.
He might pull up from Key West.
They got something. They did. You know,
fight tonight.
3 Cancun. They can't wait to get out of that bubble.
It's always good. Skip, you had a great run. Skip, you had a great run.
I saw the champs on display last night.
It's like Cinderella in basketball. You know, when you get that 12, that 14 seed, and they win a couple of games, get to the Sweet 16, hey, you had a great run.
Yeah, it's a fun time, but it can't go all the way most of the time. I personally love LeBron's comments, only because I wish I could do that. You know, it's a little different when you watch him do it.
No mercy.
Saturday night is a huge night of boxing on Fox as Erislandy Lara defends a super welterweight world title against Greg Vendetti. Plus, legendary brawler Alfredo Angulo takes on Caleb Truax. The action begins at 8 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray continue to put on a show in the Jazz Nuggets series. The Nuggets forced a Game 6 last night behind Murray's highlight-filled 42-point performance, and Mitchell had a team-high 30 points in the loss. Each player went 4 of 8 from beyond the arc. So, Skip, I'd like to ask you, how impressed were you by these two guys?
Shannon, it just keeps happening every night. Every fourth quarter is a shootout between these two rising stars who have both achieved stardom right before your very eyes. This was some special stuff. This is, can you top this clutch shot making from distance and acrobatics at the rim that are just spellbinding to me? And just quickly, speaking of the acrobatics, the shot that Jamal Murray pulled off at the end of the third quarter on the two-time Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert. You could see the spin move. This is pretty extraordinary. Up and under and around.
360 in an actual game.
Yep. And right-handed back off the glass. Pretty special. And then with about 4 minutes left in the game, back and forth it goes. This is one more time. We get Donovan Mitchell going the other direction. And watch this thunder dunk. Boom. it's just like, I will not be denied. I'm going to impose my will back on the game that you just took from me. And I tweet this every night that I watch it because it happens every fourth quarter. Just me, that's the real Dame time. I keep waiting for Damian Lillard Dame time, and I'm seeing Donovan Dalla, and I'm seeing Dame time Jamal, because they're just going back and forth, and it's high-level, clutch shot-making, close games, down to the wire. One team pulls away at the end or the other does. And I've got to say, Jamal's been even more extraordinary than Donovan has. And I watched Jamal last year beat my Spurs with a Game 7 jumper at the buzzer. So it's not like he hasn't done it before. So look at what they've been doing in this series. It's now 3-2 Utah.
Correct.
5 games. Donovan's averaging 38 and 6 assists. Jamal's averaging 31 and 7 assists. And these are more shooting guards than point guards.
Right.
So Dame against your Lakers so far is averaging 24, not terrible, but not what he was. It wasn't 60, 50, 40.
Right. He was averaging 39.
Right. And he's averaging against the Lakers 4 assists, so 24 and 4. And both these kids are averaging more assists, 6 for Donovan, 7 for Jamal, than even Dame is with only 4 assists. And in the fourth quarter, which is all in the end I ever really care about, Jamal Murray is averaging 14 points per fourth quarter. Now, think about that. That's 5 games averaging 14 a night in the fourth quarter. I mean, most guys score 14, and it's an okay game.
That's a great half.
Yeah, right. And Donovan Mitchell is averaging 15 points a night in the fourth quarter. And Jamal Murray in the 5 fourth quarters has made 11 of 14 threes. That is clutch time. That's Dame time to me that I still haven't seen from Damian himself. And Donovan, in the fourth quarters, has made 6 of 13 threes. That's 46%, which is pretty good. The other one's 79%. So, again, Dame had that flurry in Game 1. Mid-fourth quarter, he made 3 threes. But I haven't seen the consistent dominance that I've seen from these 2 young men. They're both 23 years of age. But, man, they have arrived before your very eyes. And they're putting on clutch shooting shows, the likes of which, man, it's been a long time since I've seen that in this league.
Well, to see it, you go back, Skip, I'm going to have to go back to probably, I think it was 88, when Boston and Atlanta and Dominique and Larry Bird was going back and forth.
I'll buy that.
That was one game. This has been the entire series, because remember, they've had a game when both go for 50. They've had a game where Donovan Mitchell goes for 57 and Murray goes for 40+. So when you look, you're like, what can you do? Whatever one do, the other's trying to top it. It's like we're legitimately going, we're trying to win the game as a team. And as you mentioned, mentioned the high level of assists that both guys are administering. But I'm going to get my buckets, because I'm not just going to let you outdo me. And you mentioned this. Donovan Mitchell has, in Game 1, he went for 28, 22 in the fourth, 6 in overtime. In Game 4, 18 in the fourth. Game 5, 12. Jamal Murray went for 10 and 10 in Game 1, overtime in fourth quarter. 21 in Game 4 in the fourth quarter, 16 in Game 5. He went for 33 in the second half of the last game. Skip, they're playing unbelievable. They are playing unbelievable. Now, they got guys now, Skip, that can just flat out get buckets. I mean, there's no way around it. They got guys that can just legitimately, and I'm not going to be surprised. I mean, it's been a while since we've had 4 or 5 fouls. But we might get to the point, Skip, we're going to have 6, 7 guys averaging 30+. Because KD's coming back. Dame, Bradley Beal averaged 30 this year, Giannis. We're really going to have, 6 or 7 guys that can, because the guys can shoot it so good now. Back when Larry and Michael and them played, there were only a handful of guys, and they were specialists. All these guys can shoot the ball. They can shoot Got unlimited range. Can go, and what makes them so dominant, Skip, not only can they shoot the 3, and that's another thing with Dame, he has unlimited range, he got mid-range, and he can get to the basket. What can these guys do? Shoot the 3, mid-range, get to the basket. And they're very good free throw shooters. So I've been very impressed. I mean, for Donovan Mitchell to have 2 games, that's only happened twice. In the history of the NBA, Michael Jordan and Allen Iverson, 2 50-point games in the same series.
And I'm actually a little more impressed, as much as I'm impressed with Jamal, but with Donovan. Donovan's only 6 feet 1 inch tall. That's what he's listed at. And Donovan does not have Jokic, who's an all-star. So Jamal can lean on Jokic occasionally. Jokic hit the
big 3 last night, the dagger 3.
It was from the corner. and he just ripped it clean. So, again, you've got that. And remember, Jokic started off the game and made 8 straight shots.
Had Jokic not, the game might have gotten away from him had Jokic not did what he, Joker done what he did in the first quarter. Because he kept them attached. I mean, he couldn't miss, Skip. He couldn't miss. And he cooled off. But then in the third quarter, they couldn't slow down Murray.
They couldn't. Now, he's 6'4", but you want to talk about will? You want to talk about killer will? Like, give me the ball and get out of my way?
But at some point in time, Skip, you see a guy heat up like that, you got to trap him and get the ball out of his hand. You got to make Millsap. You got to make Jeremy Grant. You got to make Dozier. You got to make some of these other guys beat you. I mean, excuse me, on his team. But you can, make Dozier. Make those guys beat you. Don't be no hero. We're going to play our D. Because you saw the Clippers. Clippers say, you know what, enough of this. Hardaway, Finney-Smith, if you guys can beat us on a consistent basis, we're going to live with that. We're just not going to let your superstar go off.
Well, Mike Malone said after the game with Jamal Murray that there are a lot of guys in this league who run from those moments. This guy looks for those moments, and he does. But both of these kids do.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. This has been some great basketball, and I love the back and forth. I would like to see them guard each other. But you exert too much energy like that. But for what Jamal Murray has done in the third and fourth quarter in game 5,
no mercy. For our hot topic of the day, sponsored by Burger King. Mix and match your favorites for just $5. Just one night after LeBron and the Lakers made a statement by blowing out the Blazers to take a 3-1 series lead, the Clippers matched that show of dominance. Flying the Clips throttled the Mavericks 154-111 to regain their series lead at 3-2. So, Shannon, which team was more impressive in their statement game?
Well, I'm going to say the Lakers. The Clippers played great. There's no denying that. Anytime you make, 22 or 35 from the three-point line, 53 of 80, 40 shots, 63% from the three-point line, 63% from the two-point line. Anytime that was an unbelievable performance. But let's not pretend the Mavs didn't play without their second-best player, Porzingis. That happened, right, Skip?
That happened.
Okay, so I'm just making sure.
I'll give you that.
So, Portland is at full strength. Dame, CJ, Nurkic, Whiteside, Melo.
No Zach Collins. Well, he was a starter.
So let me ask you a question. Who's a better player, Porzingis or Zach Collins?
Well, obviously, but they were down Zach Collins and Trevor Ariza didn't make it to the bubble.
Okay, so Skip, we down, what you call it? We down Avery Bradley.
Yep.
Okay. And we down Boogie Cousins. So we supposed to have Boogie. But we ain't got Boogie.
Well, you didn't want him.
Yeah, we did. He injured his knee in the preseason. I mean, before the season started. But anyway, my only problem with you and other people that believe in the Clippers is that when they lose, you give me they hadn't played together. I mean, if they hadn't played together, but they win, look at that ball move. Woo, look at the ball movement there. Look at Paul George. Okay. So when they lose, where's Paul George? When they lose, where's Kawhi? When they lose, where's Lou? Where's Trez? All you do is make excuses for when they lose. But when they win, you on social media, wait, they're the new beat of the West. I can't wait. You're looking at your NBA champions.
How do you know what I tweet?
People be retweeting it to me.
Oh, that explains it. Somebody's creeping on.
Ain't no creeping. Ain't nobody creeping on anything. But Skip, look, both teams played really well, but I thought the Lakers might have played a little better defensively because what they would do is suffocate. I mean, how many possessions? If you have 0 points and you 8 minutes into the ball game, how good is that defense, Skip? Suffocating.
You might ask Luka how suffocated he felt last night when he managed 22 points on 6 of 17 shooting, 1 for 6 from 3, and a grand total of 4 assists. That's called suffocation by the best defense in pro basketball when it decides to be, and I knew it would last night, and here it came.
No. Y'all not better than us, Skip.
Oh, come on.
What did the numbers say? What do the numbers say defensively rated?
When my team decides and when my team is at full strength, my team plays better defense. You know it, and I know it. I'm talking about top to bottom. And my team is still not at full strength because Patrick Beverley is only able to trash talk from the bench right now. Let him trash talk on the floor.
Well, he ain't pulling no jaw muscles because he be running his mouth an awful lot.
Well, I think he's going to be running his legs pretty soon because I think he's going to be back for the next game.
Okay.
That's what they're saying. He's got a pulled calf, and you know and I know those can be troubling going forward. They can maybe never leave you alone. But the point is, he is the one. He is the fire starter for this defense. He brings the edge. He brings the emotion. He brings the electricity to the defensive end. Okay. Trez brings the emotion to the offensive end. He can also block a shot here and there, but it's mostly on offense where he's just attacking and dunking.
Well, he took 2 charges. He blocked Seth Curry.
He did.
Took it down and got an and one.
He got an and one. And he was actually playing his way into shape last night. And
he wanted to come out.
The best development was that Doc just kept him into the bitter end.
He tried to. He tried to get a foul, Skip.
Okay, but he had 19 and 11 in a grand total of about 22 minutes. Yeah. Just over 22 minutes. Okay, I saw the old Trez. Obviously, he missed much of the bubble. He missed all those scrimmage games, and he missed the whole end of the regular season. He's trying to play himself back into shape, and they're trying to play their way back into defensive mindset shape and offensive share the ball shape because they haven't been sharing the ball on offense at all. It's been Kawhi or bust. He's been doubled nearly every possession. Last night, voila. The ball started to move. Three-point shooters are open everywhere.
Well, the thing is, Skip, you can't double Kawhi if Paul George is going to be hitting shots like that.
Thank you.
Marcus Morris was making threes. Reggie Jackson was making threes. Seemed like everybody put up, the ball was going into the hole. So it makes it impossible. Kind of like what the Lakers did, Skip. When they started making those threes, KCP, Danny Green making threes, now all of a sudden you can't pack the lane. You got to get out there on them shooters. Now LeBron is working one-on-one with Melo, one-on-one against Gary Trent Jr., and the floor is spaced. So give those guys credit. They made shots last night. I don't know who said it, but Doc gets credit for saying it. It's a make-or-miss league. When you make shots, things get a lot easier for you. But you also have to defend people and keep them from making shots and matching you. But when you go 20, I don't know if I've seen someone shoot 63% from the three-point line. Not and shoot this many threes, Skip. Okay, you shoot 10. Okay, you go 6 or 10, you go 7 or 12, something like that, Skip. I get that. But when you put up 35 threes and you make 22 of them, so just imagine if the Rockets ever shot 63%, with how many threes they shoot up 60 and make.
They're near the bottom of the barrel on shooting three-point percentage,
right?
But they're at the top of the barrel on attempts and makes.
Right.
Okay. Here's the bottom line. This Clipper team is mentally and physically tougher than your team. And I think you know that. Heart of hearts, you know that. You can argue that LeBron and AD are just more talented and that talent will out. It will prevail. But
LeBron on another level, Skip.
Hey.
I've never seen him like this.
Well, listen, this guy, Leonard, this guy named
Yeah, he's
Juan,
good. He's special. He's good. Yeah, he's a superstar.
He's dropping commercial after commercial. Every time I look up, he's got a new one.
We don't do that. We don't do no commercial.
You just live
We
doing
done.
that.
What commercial we did?
I don't know.
Oh, we came out with the Toon Squad.
Yeah. He got now, Kawhi. This is Kawhi Town. That mid-range jumper, that lane jumper, that 8, 10, 12-foot jumper, it is just deadly.
He can't do that on Bron.
The claw.
Because he just
holds it right there and just swishes it.
He can't dislodge Bron.
Yeah. It's almost like he's dunking from 10 feet because he just...
Skip, he can't dislodge Bron. You see, he can put that shoulder, he can put that hip on Hardaway Jr., on Finney Smith.
LeBron going to guard him for
Bron ain't going
48 minutes?
Is he going to guard LeBron for 48?
No, but he will.
Because last time we gave it to Mars, we gave it to PG, and we gave it to Kawhi.
Okay.
We got enough for all you.
You better be ready.
We got enough for all you.
They're going to come. It's going to be an onslaught.
LeBron was like me. Hey, I used to come out of the field in pregame. I would look at the linebackers. I'm going to give it to you in the first quarter. I'm going to give it to you in the third quarter. And so you don't feel left out. You gonna catch it in the fourth quarter.
Really?
All y'all gonna get this.
You're gonna do that to the Los Angeles
That's
Clippers.
what Bron gonna do. PG, you got this work the first quarter. Hey, Marcus, second and third, and on fourth quarter, Kawhi. I'm gonna lose them braids. I don't
think you did that against the Chiefs or the Raiders. No, I don't think you did.
Yes.
That. No, you didn't.
Oh, you better ask the Raiders about me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Linebacker.
One ball.
No.
I used
safety went the wrong way. Skip, I used to get him that work.
Yeah.
They talk crazy to me. I said, okay, dudes. I cover Sharpe like a blanket.
Yeah.
I said, they're coming back in 3 weeks. Tell him to bring that same blanket that he covered me with in Arrowhead after I went for $1.15. Bring that with him.
There's a new Shannon Sharpe, and he plays for the Clippers, and his name is Patrick Beverly. Yes. He's in a small package.
So now I'm Pat Bell.
Dynamite comes in small packages.
So now I'm Pat Bell.
He is you. He is you. I'm going to give you, he is you. I don't know if he's Hall of Fame bound, but he is the
Hall of Fame bound.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
How you make the Hall of Fame without
He got a first-place vote for Defensive Player of the Year. Twice he's made first team all-defense.
I mean, don't you have to at least make an all-star team?
Yep, you do.
Okay.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he is the fire starter. And once he comes back, you're going to see a whole different defensive energy from all of the above. And all of a sudden, have you been watching Lou Will? He's lemon pepper, but he's putting lemon pepper all over the opposition.
I think you can find somebody else to compare me to other than Pat Bell. I mean, damn.
Well, I'm just saying he's that guy for this team.
Oh, so that's all I ain't putting no work in.
I got you with that one, didn't I? Hey.
I'm Pat Bell.
When you got Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell coming off the bench, it is...
Did you see Kuzma? Did you see Kuz?
So every once in a while I see it. He comes and goes. He's there, and then he's not there.
And we got Dwight to run up and down the court with Trez.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see how that goes.
We just got to make sure he don't, because, Dwight, he start picking up fouls in bunches. He get one, and then next thing you know, he got 4 in like 2 minutes.
Man, every time I look up, somebody else is making a three. And I got to tell you, Marcus Morris can flat out shoot it. Landry Shamet can shoot it. They are tough-minded, physically tough. They'll get up in you. This team is loaded top to bottom.
I want to know what all these free throws. I see some guy. Look, LeBron got a championship.
You want to talk free throws? Your team's the worst free throw shooting team in the bubble.
Hold on. Didn't your guy go 6 of 11? 6 of 11.
He had a bad night.
Oh, hold up.
All he did was score 32 in 29 minutes. That'll work.
Skip, I remember we got a championship thanks to your guys missing free throws. But you say you want him shooting free throws in the clutch. We got a championship thanks to him.
Yeah, thanks to Ray Allen.
No. Ray Allen shot, because see, there wasn't no 4-point play. So if he make his free throw, we dead to right.
Yep, you would have been dead. Yep, he was 18 years of age at that point.
No, that wasn't no 18.
Yes, he was.
Oh, so he came straight out of high school.
Manu was 48 that night, 48 years of age. And they both missed free throws. Up 5 with 18 seconds left. How do you do
And y'all
that?
lost?
I don't know how it happened.
And what happened?
Ray Allen happened.
Goat James and Ray Allen happened.
Goat James missed the tying 3, LeBricked it.
And then we got it. And then we got it to overtime. And then what happened?
My team was shot in the heart.
Who did the shooting?
Ray Allen.
Oh, Goat.
Skip, I really enjoyed the Pat Bev comparison for Shannon. I think you got him there. You got him.
I got it.
I'm Pat Bell.
I mean, I think Pat Bev probably loves the compliment there.
No mercy.
Julian Edelman has a positive message for Patriots fans after the departure of Tom Brady. Edelman posted a Photoshop picture to Instagram with Cam Newton as Superman and himself as Batman. The caption reads, "The night is darkest just before the dawn, and I promise you the dawn is coming." This is a quote from the Batman movie, The Dark Knight. I don't know. I find this a little corny. Shannon, what do you think of what he posted?
Oh, you find something corny after what Tom Brady posted? I think Edelman has a very high opinion of himself with this Batman. But Skip, does he realize that Batman is not a superhero because he doesn't possess any inhuman superpower?
I got it. Yeah.
So for me, everything is a costume and gadgets. A belt. He got a belt. That's what he does. Belt and the armband.
And he's got a car, man.
But I ain't got no problem with it. I ain't got no problem with it because remember Tom Brady? He out there, Mom, I'm having a great time at camp. I met some new friends. You don't have no problem with that. I ain't got no problem. You're Superman and Batman to the rescue.
Really?
A new dawn is on the horizon.
I wonder how Jared Stidham feels.
That ain't Jared Stidham.
He's out, man. You're gone, pal.
Yes.
I hate to say this, but Cam has not been Superman for a couple of years, and Edelman definitely wasn't any Batman last year when he led the league in drops and was part of a receiving corps that was dead last in separation in the National Football League.
Remember Superman, he gave that up to be with Lois. He gave up all those superpowers to be with Lois, but he can go back and get them.
Yeah.
And he coming back to get them.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting. You know who the real Batman was in New England? It's the guy. Bruce Wayne's now down in Tampa.
Oh, Gronk.
He's Bruce Wayne. No, Tom
Brady.
Brady. He was Bruce Wayne by day, and then all he did was rescue the Patriots in 6 Super Bowls with 6 game-winning fourth-quarter drives. How you like that? That's Batman-esque right there.
Actually, the guy that ran Batman and everything was Coach Belichick.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to be exposed this year. With there are no superheroes.
What about your guy getting exposed?
Yeah. Oh, he's.
What about your guy?
MVP? Super Bowl bound.
No playoffs.
Nothing corny about that guy, Tom Brady.
Oh, yeah.
Just remember that. Just remember that. All right, guys, that's it for Undisputed. We're back at the same time tomorrow. Have a good day, guys.